Hello everyone. So I've decided to record a quick short video on how to set up EC2 instance as an Ansible control node. You recollect this particular slide from our previous class where I tried to explain Ansible architecture, right? So one of the things we talked about was the need for us to set up a control node where we install Ansible, we install Python, and it's from this server that we manage all the remote hosts or the managed host. So what I want to do today is to take us through a step-by-step on how to set up a control node on AWS EC2 instance. And at a very high level, of course, this is just a recap of what we spoke about. On the control node, we need to install Ansible, right? Yeah, we can use any kind of system. We can use Windows, we can use Linux, we can use Mac. But like we found out for ourselves for the past couple of days, right? We've been struggling with being able to have consistent Ansible operation on Windows, right? So we've decided to move to AWS Cloud, right? So that's what we want to do today. Of course, we need Python on the control node, and we must ensure that we can support the control node can support SSH, right? So of course we know we need to create inventory and things like that. Yeah, and we know the manage remotes. The managed node is the remote system to be managed. So at a very high level, this is what is involved, right? We're going to launch EC2 instance. This time around, please take note of this. I want us to use Red Hat. So I've realized that there are some issues with Python installation on Amazon Linux that is causing problem. Please and please, for this class, or in fact for the remainder of Ansible, let's use Red Hat, and I will explain shortly how to do all those things. So we need to select a key pair. We need to allow us. Okay, this is important too. We need to allow SSH and allow traffic, allow all traffic as part of your security group. Of course, you also need to log into your control node using your key pair, right? And I will also show you how you can use secure copy command to copy your PEM key from your local computer, if it's on your local computer, to your control node. And once that is done, we're going to configure the control node, the EC2 instance. So by installing Ansible, then we configure AWS and we confirm the AWS configuration. So let's go onto our AWS console to spin up our EC2 instance, and we take it from there. So here is my AWS management console. So I will go to, there's no instance running. I will go to launch instance. So what name do I want to give it? Let me call it test. You can call it Ansible controller, but I'll call it test. I'll call it test node. Remember what I told you? Let's use Red Hat. So, because you can use T2 micro, but of course the same thing. You can just use T2 medium, but you can use T2 micro if you want. I use T2 medium in case I'm doing something that requires memory. I don't want to have to come back and reconfigure anything. So for my key pair, make sure the key pair you're using here is the key pair that you will use on your control node when you set it up. So remember I told you that you need to set up, you need to enable all traffic. So on network, I click edit. So SSH is already enabled, so leave it like that, but add additional security group. So for additional security group, you add all traffic, like I said, all traffic and custom anywhere. So let me make a point about this. This is not it's not the best practice. I'm just using this for practice purposes, for the purpose of this class or for development purposes. But in production or in a control company, in your company environment, you will have a specific spot, right, that you need to enable, right? Please take note of that. I'm just, for the purpose of this demo, I'm just enable all traffic, and that's it. I think that's it. You just need one. Let's launch it. It may take a couple of minutes, but let's just wait for 1 or 2 minutes for this thing to be provisioned. Okay, now you can see my test node, my EC2 instance is up and running. Let me go back. I just want to see the running one. So I have one running. So that's my test node. It's up and running. So the first thing I want to do is I want to connect to this. Of course, you can just click on this, go to connect, and connect with EC2 instance or session manager, or even more so, you can use your good old SSH connection, right? But like I told you earlier, right, I'm comfortable with using VSCode. So that's what I will do. I will set up VS Code. I will connect VS Code to this instance so that I can do everything I want to do on this server from my VS Code. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. So before I leave this page, I will click here and I will copy this. I will copy this because I will need this to connect. So let me copy this. That's good. That's good. All right. Let's go. I will go now to my VS Code. Let me see. So you can see my VS Code now. So I want to set up a connection to my EC2 instance. So the first thing I will do is to go to the status bar. So this is the status bar. You go to the status bar at the bottom, right? That blue. It may not be blue on yours, but it's blue on mine. That's the status bar. So you click on the status bar. So you go to connect to host. Of course, before you may not see this immediately. The first thing you may have to do is to go to your extension. Make sure you have remote SSH installed. So in my own case, this remote SSH is already installed, so I don't have to do anything. It's already installed. It's 15 million installation. That's huge. Okay, it's already installed. Okay, there you go. So go to the status bar again, right? Click on the status bar. So if you have the remote SSH installed, you will see the connect to host, right? Click on connect to host, right? So you see these are the hosts I've configured before, but let's go to configure SSH host. You click on that, then you go to your user SSH config directory, right? So you click on that. Now you can see the ones I've configured before. So I will use, okay, I copied something before. Let me paste it here. Yeah. So let me change this one. Let me change this one to test node, right? And I need the host name. The host name is from the app. So from here onward, that's the host name. I will copy that. I will replace it. And because it's a Red Hat instance, right? The username is still the same, which is good. And because I'm on Windows, so I'm recording this video on Windows, right? So and my identity file is located in this directory on my Windows. That's why that is like that. I will leave it like that. So you may have to replace this with your own with the location of your perm key. So this is my perm key, right? So replace it with the location of your perm key. Please don't forget, right? That's good. And again, you can connect as many servers as possible. As you can see, I have 2 connected already. So you save this. Once you save this, then the next thing you need to do now is to close this, right? And then go to the status bar again and click on the status bar and go to connect to host again. Now you can see the new one that you created. So once you click on this, something is going to happen. There will be a new pop-up, right? So there will be a new pop-up. So I will click on this. So there's already a new pop-up on. Please, when you see the pop-up, give it some time to do whatever it has to do. Don't go to any other screen. I've had experience where if you navigate away from that screen, it will just disconnect. Another thing is, it will also give you options. It will ask you to select options among Linux, Windows, and Mac. Make sure you select Linux because the remote server we are connecting to is Linux, right? Make sure you select Linux. And if he asks you to continue, yes, say continue. So those are very important if you see something like that. So after some seconds, you can now see a new VSCode screen that pops up. And if you look at the status bar now, it has changed to my test node. It shows that I'm now on my Red Hat EC2 instance, right? So if I go to my terminal from here, if I go to my terminal, right? Let me close this. So you can see right away I'm already in my terminal. Then I can do ls. I can do who am I. Yeah, you can see I'm already on my EC2 instance. So the first step is done. So what the next step after this is to start with configuration. Okay, let me start by updating my server. Of course, the good old sudo yum update. Let's run that. Sudo yum update -y. Let's try that. Okay. This may take a couple of minutes. Okay, that's good. So that's done. Let me clear my screen. We've updated that. So let's start by checking pip version. Let's check Python. Let's check if Python is installed. Oh, we have Python 3.9. That's good. Let's check pip3 version. Pip is not found. There's no pip installed. Okay, because pip is not installed, let's install pip. So we can use this command. Let's run sudo yum install pip Python 3 pip. That will install pip. All right, that's good. So let's do pip. So now we have pip. That's good. We have pip install. That's good. Let's clear this. So the next thing for me is to install Ansible. The next thing left is to install Ansible. How do we go about that? So I will use this command. I will use pip command. I will use Python 3-m pip install -user Ansible, right? So let me copy this. First. Copy that. Let me remove it and check Ansible version. So Ansible is not installed. All right. So let me paste that back. Let me install Ansible. So with this, I'm using pip to install Ansible. Okay, that's good. That may take a couple of seconds. Let's just wait. Give it time. It's going to. After about a minute or so, my installation is done. Okay, now we can move to the next step. Okay, before we move to that next step, let me check my Ansible version. Right, you can actually see that my Ansible is installed. It's version 2.14. That's good. It's using Python 3.9. That's good. Ginger template. That's good. That's good. So the next thing I want to check is to see if I have AWS. So I don't have AWS installed. In your own case, you might have already installed AWS, but in my own case, I don't. So I will install AWS so that I will have access to AWS command line. So the first thing I want to do is I want to install some things that I need. Let me install unzip and call in case I need them. All right. Sudo yum install unzip, right? So that's done. Now let me go to AWS documentation, and I will copy this command. This is the first command I need to run, first of 3 commands. So I'm using call command now. So it's I've downloaded it, right? Let me use unzip now to unzip it. So this command are directly from AWS, right? AWS documentation, all right? That may take a couple of minutes. That's good. All right, that's good. So now the last command from it, according to AWS, is this. All right, let's install it. Here you go. Okay, I will give it a minute. It's taking time, but I will give it a minute in case. Here you go. The installation is successful. Let me clear my screen. I can now check AWS version. Yeah. So here you go. I have that. So far, what have we done? We've set up the server, Red Hat instance. We've connected it to VSCode. Here we are in VSCode. We've installed Python and pip. We've installed Ansible. Now I've installed AWS CLI, right? So now if I try to do AWS S3 LS, it's going to give me error. It said unable to locate credentials. So I need to configure my credential by running AWS configure. Okay, don't forget that that's the next step. It's crucial, right? So you copy this command, configure, and you run configure. Remember your access key ID, right? I won't show you this part of my recording because I don't want to expose my access key. But you remember the access key and the secret key that you downloaded previously, right? So that's what you need to enter here. So I will go in the background now and enter and complete that and come back. So now it's asking for my secret, my access key ID. I copied that from wherever I kept it, right? I paste that. So it's now asking for my secret access key, right? I will copy my secret access key, like, I will enter, right? So the next thing is asking for default region, right? Default region. My default region is US East 1. So I enter my default region. It's asking for default output. I will just put JSON, small letter, and that's it. Now I'm done with the configuration. Let me come back on screen. Yeah, I'm done with my configuration. Now you can see if I do AWS S3 ls, you can actually see now I can get the list of my bucket. If I do AWS STS get color identity, yes, now I'm able to get color identity. That's neat, that's nice, right? So now I've installed Ansible, I've installed Python. Now I've set up my AWS configuration. The last thing that is left, or one of the last things I need to do, is to find a way to bring my PEM key inside here. So if we go, if I ls into this directory .ssh directory, you will see I have authorized key, right? But I don't really have my PEM key, right? And for me to be able to use this server to communicate with my remote my managed host or my remote host, I need to have my private PEM key, my PEM key in this server, right? Because I want to use PEM key. I want to use key pair. Of course, there are other ways you can do it, right? You can use a high AM role, right? But in my case, I will use PEM key. I mean, even though that's not a secure way, IAM role is more secure, but that's beyond the scope of what I want to talk about today. So if you are interested in that, let me know. I will organize a different class for that. So let's copy. So in my case, I have my PEM key on my desktop. So I will copy it from the desktop. I will show you how to copy it from the desktop. Okay, in a second. Okay, now I'm on my desktop. Let me see, pwd. This is my local computer. This is a git bash on my computer. Let me cd into my desktop. I want to locate where my PEM key is. Let me see. I'm in my desktop, right? Let me pwd to orient myself on my desktop. Let me see that I know my PEM key is in DevOps. Right. Okay, I'm in DevOps now. Let me orient myself again. I'm in DevOps. So let me ls. Okay, let me clean this. Let me ls -l. Okay. Now let me look for my PEM key. Okay, here you go. This is my PEM key. So I want to copy this file. I want to copy this file from my local computer to my remote server. How do I do it? Right? Let me clear this. I will use secure copy. So when I'm using secure copy, I will use identity, what identity file we want to use. Of course, I want to use the same PEM key, right? That's the identity file that I want to use. Copy, I want to use that. I want to use the identity file. Fortunately, it's the same file that I want to copy. So you specify the file. So I mean, in this current directory, I want to copy this particular file. I want to copy no. I want to copy my PEM file. No, I want to copy my PEM file. I want to copy my PEM file. I want to copy my PEM file. Where do I want to copy my PEM file to? I want to copy it to my remote server. So let me get the address of my remote server first. So I'm going to my AWS console to get my, again, I'll just get this. I get this part. I get this part. That's the address that I want to connect to. Okay, good. Good. So let me go back to my git bash on my local computer. Right? On my git bash, I'll just paste that. That's where I want to. So I'm secure copying with this identity file, right? This is what I'm copying. I'm copying this, right, to where I'm copying into this server location. So there's one more thing I need to specify. I need to specify where in the server I'm copying it to. I want to copy it to home EC2 user /.sh. Right, that's where I want to send it to. We can confirm that by going to, let's go to the VS Code. If you go to VS Code, yeah, if you go to VS Code, we can do, yeah, we can do pwd. So there's the present working directory. You can see where we are. We are in this directory, yeah. So if we copy this directory and we do ls, we paste that directory, right? If we paste that directory and we put .sh in front of it, you can actually realize we got here, right? So this is the directory we want to paste it to. Okay, right now we only have one file of, maybe it's a file folder, I don't know about the own folder in there. Okay, now let's go back to my git bash. So now on my git bash, so I'm secure copying with this identity file from this location onto this server at this particular location on the server, right? At this particular location on the server. So let me run that. If I run that, then it's 100%, it's gone. That's good. I'm done with my everything I need to do. Let's go to cloud now. You see, now remember when we run ls, we only have one file on the cloud. If I run it again now, I have my PEM key here, right? So this PEM key will still not work, right? I mean, the problem is largely solved now, but the PEM key will still not work, right? Because if I do ls-l and I call user EC2 user, not user, EC2 user /.ssh, right? See, there are two files, so this permission is too open. Yeah, AWS will complain. So what we need to do is to do change mode. Let me change mode. AWS suggests 400. Change mode 400 on my Mac key per dot pem. Mac key pair dot pem. Okay, now it's good. If I run this again, you see, yeah, this is good. So the permission is good. Yeah, let's read only. Okay, let's clear my screen. So now I have everything installed, right? So let me start from Ansible again. Ansible version. No, Ansible is installed. Okay, good. Python version. Python is installed. That's good. So let me do AWS version. Means AWS is installed. That's good. Let me clear my screen. I can do AWS STS get color identity. I know now I can communicate, right? Which is good, right? So what else do I need to check? So the last thing I need to check to be sure everything is working is to see if I can run Ansible command right now. But I don't have any host, right? But I can use localhost. But to be able to use localhost, we need to set something up, right? So at this point, if I run this command, if I run this adduck command, and I provide localhost, right? And I say, okay, my module is ping, right? It should complain. So even if I say yes, it should give me error because it cannot connect to localhost. So to connect to localhost, there's a command we need to run. You need to run this. You need to run this command. You need to run the. Let me clear the screen so that SSH-agent. Call it. Give it bash. Let the agent be bash. Right. So once you run that command, there's another command now you need to run. So now you want to add your PEM key. Remember where the PEM key is, right? Where the PEM key is. So we need to add the PEM key. I think I copied mine. You need to run, so you run SSH bash, you need to run SSH add, right? You want to add your PEM key to list of known hosts, right? Okay, so you run SSH add. Remember, this is the directory to your PEM key, right? That's good. You run that. So it says identity added, right? So this is already added. That's good. Now, if you run ansible or inventory local host and you do ping, it should be all green. Yeah, that's good. So with this, you've been able to successfully set up EC2 instance, this time around Red Hat, as your Ansible control node. Please, once again, I will repeat, make sure you use Red Hat AMI, right, as your base Linux server, right? I found out that in fact, that's one of the reasons why I'm recording this video, because in the previous lecture, I remember I told you guys to set up Amazon Linux too, but for some reason I've been having difficulties with Python installation. So the Python installation on Amazon Linux is outdated. So for some reason I couldn't update it. So when you try to install Boto, or when you try to use it for some other things, you run into some trouble. So I will advise, please use Red Hat and follow all the steps that we've outlined here. And it's very simple. You set up your instance. Once you set up your instance, you connect it to VSCode, because that's not important, but that's what I'm comfortable with, because I can use VSCode easily. I don't like using VI or Vim or Nano to interact with server. Of course, if I have to, but if VS Code is I'm more comfortable with VS Code, which is good. So connect to VS Code. Once you are connected to VS Code, make sure you install Ansible. Make sure Python is installed. Make sure your AWS CLI is working. Next, you run your AWS configure. In that case, you will need your access key and secret access key, right, to configure that. Once that is configured, make sure you copy your PEM key from your computer, wherever it is on your computer. Make sure you copy it to .ssh directory on your server, right? Once that is done, you can run the last two commands that you're seeing on the screen now. Yeah, SSH agent bash and SSH add, and add the directory to your new PEM key. Once that's done, of course, you'll be able to ping your local host, which means your Ansible is set up properly. Don't also forget, when you copy your PEM key from your local computer to your server, right, you realize the permission is kind of is too open. So according to AWS recommendation, you run change mode to 400 to make it a little bit, to make you read only. So with that, that's all you need to do. Please watch the video slowly. You can pause if I'm too fast for you, but please make sure you familiarize yourself with how to set up Ansible control node on EC2 instance. Once again, if you have any question, you can reach out to me on the Slack channel. I will try to answer your question within couple of minutes. Otherwise, have a nice day and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.